issue ng West Philippine Sea was boiling. Nung Carpio naman, sulat ng mga desisyon para sa kanyang utak lang. Isa rin itong, gusto mo magdebate tayo. Sino ang nagpa-retreat at anong ginawa ninyo after sa retreat? File ng kaso. Ngayon nanalo. Ma-enforce ba natin? Nag-file sila ng kaso, nanalo tayo. Yung papel sa totoong buhay between nations, yung papel wala yan. Magpunta ka man ng United Nations, magpunta ka ng Amerika, magpunta ka kung saang impyerno gusto mong tulong. Pagdating mo, papel ang dala mo o anong gusto mo, trouble is away yan. Kaya mo, ipagpatuloy ko raw yung away. Kasi wasting my time and at the same time disrupting the good relations of China and the Philippines. Ngayon, kung ako'y nagsisinungaling, mag-resign ako bukas kaagad. Yan ang garantiya ko sa inyo.
The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. President Duterte has apologized for his use of Sinopharm despite the availability of other vaccines that have been granted EUAs in the Philippines. But at the end of it all, the chief executive says it's his life anyway. For more details on the issues raised at last night's presidential address, we have Maricel Halili. She's reporting live from Mandaluyong. Good morning, Maricel. Did the president explain why he still went with Sinopharm despite this massive backlash from the PSG using these vaccines that they admittedly, they admitted were smuggled?
Good morning, Charles. Well, actually, President Duterte has been consistent in saying that his preference is Chinese vaccine. He said that he still decided to be inoculated with the Chinese-made vaccine Sinopharm. It's because of the advice of his doctor. Prior to his statement last night, Vaccine Sir Carlito Galvez said that the usage of Sinopharm is safe, considering that a lot of leaders from other countries have already used this particular brand. Particularly leaders from China and from Middle East have already used this. So this is the reason why the president is confident in using Sinopharm, despite the fact that the Food and Drug Administration still has to issue emergency use authorization in Sinopharm, to Sinopharm in the country. For now, Sinopharm only has compassionate use permit as requested by the Presidential Security Group.
Right, Mose, you mentioned that we don't have an EUA yet for Sinopharm in the Philippines at least, but then is there a plan to legitimately push for the supply of Sinopharm here?
Well, Food and Drug Administration Director General Eric Domingo said that at least 3 companies have already expressed their interest in filing EUA for Sinopharm. But since they haven't filed any document yet as of now, the FDA cannot process its EUA. This is also the reason why Secretary Roque mentioned in his previous briefings that it will be much better if the Chinese-made vaccine has an agent here in the Philippines.
Right, Mose, so much for that, at least for now. Let's talk about the recent tirades of the president. He went off again last night on the West Philippine Sea issue. What did he have to say this time?
Well, basically, he just reiterated his previous statements on the West Philippine Sea, lambasting former Justice Antonio Carpio and former Foreign Affairs Secretary Albert Del Rosario. The president mentioned last night that he thinks that Secretary Del Rosario must be investigated for his decision about the standoff on the Scarborough Shoal during the time of former President Noynoy Aquino. He once again questioned the decision of Secretary Del Rosario to order our military assets, the Coast Guard, to pull out from the disputed area, which for the president is a bad move, considering that we have lost a part of our territory because of that particular decision. He also challenged Justice Antonio Carpio for a debate about the issue on the West Philippine Sea.
Right. Interesting whether Justice Carpio will respond to this and how. But what exactly did the president have to say about that arbitral victory against China over the disputed waters? I understand he referred to it as a piece of paper, but then what does this mean for our policy then?
That's right, Charles. President Duterte said that the arbitral ruling is just a piece of paper. Basically, what he meant by this is that compared to our military forces, Chinese military forces are much, much stronger as compared to us. So it will be difficult for us to fight the Chinese when it comes to the disputed territory. Aside from that, he already talked with the Chinese President Xi Jinping before. And he already told Chinese President Xi Jinping that there will come a time that the country has to drill our oil on the disputed area because that is ours. But then Chinese President Xi Jinping also warned President Duterte that if he ordered the military to do that, well, there will be a trouble. So basically, the president is just saying that for now, it seems that we cannot do anything but to talk with the Chinese government.
Right. I suppose we can leave it at that for now. But then let's talk about the president giving marching orders for the police to arrest, detain, and investigate anyone who will be caught not wearing their face masks. Is this really happening? And are we seeing the police carrying out this order?
Well, it's a bit ironic, Charles. President Duterte has always been consistent in emphasizing that he has the police power to implement particular policies like the arrest of those who will not follow the particular protocol on wearing face masks and face shield. But this is contradicting the statement of the Justice Department saying that should the Philippine National Police see ordinary Filipinos not wearing face masks or face shield, they better ask them to do community service instead of arresting them. But just like the previous talk to the people, this is one of the issues that we still have to clarify with the presidential spokesperson, Harry Roque.
Yeah, we'll see what Secretary Roque will have to say about this. I have one more question before I let you go, Mase. Secretary Galvez and President Duterte have reported that the Philippines has one of the best vaccination programs in the ASEAN region. Do we have basis for this claim?
Well, at least that's according to the national government. Well, they're claiming that we're third of the countries, in all ASEAN countries, when it comes to the number of inoculated individuals. Based on the data presented by Vaccine Czar Carlito Galvez during Talk to the People last night, he said that for now, the national government has already inoculated more than 2 million individuals, where at least 1.7 million of these got their first doses. And aside from that, Secretary Galvez also announced last night that we're expecting 1 or 2 million doses of AstraZeneca this month. And aside from we're also expecting Pfizer vaccines, the first tranche of Pfizer vaccines also this month. So we'll see.
Lots of nice things to look forward to. Thanks for that, Mase. That was Maricel Halili reporting live from Mandaluyong. Experts from the World Health Organization have voiced very low confidence in the data provided by Sinopharm on its COVID-19 vaccine. The WHO's evidence assessment document includes summaries of clinical trials in China, Bahrain, Egypt, and the UAE. And according to the document, Sinopharm's efficacy in the multi-country phase 3 clinical trials was 78.1% after 2 doses. This was a slight drop from the 79.34% that was announced previously by China. The experts say they're still confident that Sinopharm's vaccine is effective against COVID-19. But they found some evidence gaps among pregnant participants and participants with comorbidities in the clinical trials. Remember that Filipino scientist who developed an app to track available COVID-19 beds? Well, she's eyeing to add more features to her tracker to help patients access real-time hospital bed data. Let's get more details on this report by Camille Samonte.
Avon was rushed to the hospital on the night of March 11 after a severe bout of asthma. Her oxygen level was running low. The doctor believed Avon has contracted COVID-19, but they're already full and couldn't admit her. So did 4 other hospitals.
Sabi ko sa kanya, parang gusto ko umuwi na lang sa bahay. Feeling ko talaga mamamatay na ako. Yung mga hospitals natin, they want to help, pero sobrang limited yung capabilities nila to help.
Avon, who would later turn out positive, eventually got admitted in a COVID ward, but not without staying in the emergency room for 2 days first. But hers wasn't an isolated case. Social media has been replete with stories of Filipinos finding it hard to find a COVID bed. That's what inspired a Sydney-based Filipino data scientist to develop the COVID-19 app. It tracks the COVID bed capacity in Philippine hospitals. Developer Reyes said all data is sourced from the Health Department's COVID-19 tracker. It is available on smartphones and on computers via datascience.group/COVID-19. Clicking the map shows a hospital's directory and contact information. Available ICU, isolation, and ward beds are in green. Otherwise, it would be in red.
At least alam mo geographically ano yung pinakamalapit na hospital where you are. You have the phone number of the hospital so you can confirm kung meron pa nga bang available before you go.
Reyes said more features will be added to the web version, such as allowing hospitals to input their own data. For the meantime, the DOH said that as of May, ICU beds in Metro Manila have increased to more than 1,100 from 781 beds last March. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
Kal-El 15 has been selected for the World Cinema and Narrative Feature sections of the 16th Harlem International Film Festival in New York. The cast and crew of Kal-El 15 joined Powerhouse lineup of international cinematic gems that will be participating in this year's hybrid events, which will run from May 6 to May 9. Kal-El 15 is a co-production of the Idea First Company, October Train Films, and Signal Entertainment. Starring Elijah Canlas, Eddie Garcia, and Jacqueline Jose, and directed by June Robles Lana, this poignant film tackles various issues from the stigma surrounding HIV to the intricacies of growing up with a troubled parent. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us again later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.